This is the same tornado that, first of all, I'm down here in the Samberg Tennessee area. But this is the same tornado that come up through Woodland, north of Woodland Mills, and went on over into Kentucky and basically done the damage that it did over towards Hickman, Kentucky, and on up from Hickman, Kentucky to Grand Rivers and on up into that area. I don't know what's going on up here pertaining to being able to go to Reelfoot. I don't know if they'd stop the road up or what's going on here. I know it's a tragedy, that's for sure. They got a lot of light people out here. I don't know how many facilities actually got damaged, but it's pretty obvious that a great deal of them got damaged. I had put out an advisory, give or take right about an hour before this had hit, to my viewers that basically to prepare. The way that I worded it was that whenever it gets 75, 76, 77 degrees in the middle of December and the humidity was so thick that you could cut it with a knife, that something was fixing to happen, that they should be as concerned as what was going on around them as it would have been if a hurricane was heading our way. And within just a matter, I'm thinking less than an hour, is whenever this stuff started developing, popping up out of the blue. Of course, Arkansas, or over in the Missouri area, was some of the first areas that got hit, and then it come over the mighty Mississippi on over here into Lake County, and I think Dyer County got hit too. Seemed like I was hearing a report that New Bern had taken on a lick or two. I know that Humboldt had taken on a lick or two. I've heard that Kenton and Greenfield had taken on a lick or two, and I also heard that Cydonia and Sharon, and basically downtown Dresden got almost totally destroyed, other than the courthouse, is what I was told. I don't know how true that is, but I mean that's hitting pretty close home to me, because from where I live to Dresden, Tennessee, it can give or take but about 15 miles. And for the second time since I've been back to Tennessee, God laid it upon my heart to go ahead and start preparing and tying down stuff. And by, I guess it was right at 10:30, 15 minutes to 11, I had already positioned my vehicles where I thought that they would be best to be at in case something like this wound up coming up through the area. And for the second time, I wound up in my safe house that David and I helped build before he passed away in 2017, which was a big, humongous covert. I guess the covert was, it was about 10 foot in length, and the diameter from the inside to the inside was probably almost 8 to 10 foot. So me and David hauled that from up towards Dresden, in between Sharon and Dresden, back home, flipped it upside down, and welded on the seams about every 2 foot Every 2 foot we'd put about a 2-inch weld. That way, whenever I cut the door opening up off of the door, it wouldn't spring open, kind of like a springing open, and the next thing you know, you wound up losing the stability of a covert, a good heavy covert. And that's what we done. And then we welded up the places on the door, and we cut the door out, and we put hinges on it, and then we poured concrete in the middle of it for a safe house, just in case there was something like this that occurred. That was the second time that I've gotten in it. That's how serious that it was. And whenever it went over last night, give or take right around 11 o'clock, I could hear something that didn't sound right. It kind of sounded to me like a jet, or it had that rumbling sound like a train, but I could tell that I was fortunate enough right there on the edge of Weakley County and Obion County. I live in Weakley County. I could tell that I was fortunate that I didn't take on a direct hit. I felt it around me. I knew it was coming. I put out a warning. Within, give or take, about an hour, right at an hour before the National Weather Service started putting out their warnings, I knew God had showed me that this was coming. And of course, you can look and see the buildings and the cars. It's flipped upside down over here to the far left. And of course, we ain't even looked at the devastation in downtown Samberg. I was told that 6 people has lost their lives here in this particular event, which is horrible. I've also been told that the event that hit Hickman, Kentucky, hit directly on a factory, some sort of a factory that made candles. And I think they employed about 125 people. But from the statistics that I heard, in which I hope to God that what I heard was incorrect, but from what I heard, there was many people trapped last night, and many people died because of the roof caving in on the workers during the time that they was working. Like I said, I hope that what I'd heard on the radio was incorrect. But by looking at the power of this thing, there's a strong possibility that what I heard on the radio is correct. I was told that this tornado started basically in Jonesboro, Arkansas, or somewhere on the other side of the Mississippi River, and it basically hopscotched and stayed on the ground, give or take, for about 200 miles. I think it went into Tennessee, went up into Kentucky, went back into Tennessee, and then wound up going back up into Kentucky, somewhere, the way that I understand it, somewhere up towards the Bowling Green, Kentucky area, or maybe it was up towards the Ohio. Somebody said that it actually went up towards the Ohio, which would be the opposite of Bowling Green. But the fact of the matter is, the tornado done devastation for 200 miles. 200 miles. Probably at least a F3, F4, and that's being conservative. May have been an F5. I was told it sometimes that it was actually picking up debris over 3,500 foot up into the air, almost a mile high, and that at times the debris field down at the bottom was give or take about a mile wide. A mile wide that was throwing up debris 3,500 feet up into the air. Now that's a heck of a powerful system towards doing stuff like that, if those reports are accurate. Once more, I'm here in Samberg, Tennessee. Today is Saturday. I believe it's the 11th, December the 11th, like 2 weeks from Christmas. One of the worst times in the world that anybody can go through anything like this. I mean, it's bad enough if a death's in the family, or somebody has an accident, or somebody winds up having a heart attack or a stroke. But to think that your whole town has been devastated. And from the reports that I was listening to a while ago, Dresden, City Hall, Tommy Thomas's building that he works out of, that they account over 100 different structures, either homes or businesses, there in Dresden, Tennessee, is damaged, and I'm going to say probably 2/3 of them are unrepairable. In other words, they're beyond repair. Total loss. Once more, I don't know how accurate that any of that is. I just know that last night was a very, very uncertain, dicey night, to say the least. I got 2 cats. They was absolutely climbing the wall, knowing it's something. They could feel the intensity in the air, and they also detected me being worried or overly concerned, to the point that I was doing what I was doing outside, and my cats was basically just freaking out. They was totally freaking out because they could feel it. They know that something was going on that they did not like, because they could detect it, just like I could detect it within an hour, or right around an hour, before any of the official warnings started coming in. Anytime you're in an environment to where it goes from cold to chilly to basically hot. I mean, I was sweating last night. The same thing if it was in the middle of summer. I mean, I was perspiring from head to toe in moving this, moving that, tying this down, tying that down, trying to properly prepare just in case I took on a major lick. How's it look back that way, sir? Are you serious?
Nothing. Everything's gone.
Going towards Reelfoot, everything's gone?
Everything's gone. All the houses, everything, and they're just picking it up, putting it in.
I was told that there were 6 fatalities in this area.
3, 2 or 3, something like that. That's all they know. It's probably more. They're cleaning stuff up down that way. It's very slow. You got a 15 mile an hour. All the big pretty houses, most of them on this side of the lake.
This side of the lake are gone?
They're gone.
Really?
All the shops and stuff, old factories, and campground down there, it's gone.
The campground's gone?
It's gone.
I was told the state facility down there probably got a couple $1 million worth of damage did alone.
It probably does.
How about Blue Bank? Did it do any damage to Blue Bank?
Go that far. You have to go around all equipment and stuff. I just didn't go that far.
I understand. Thank you for talking to me. Hey, did it hit Blue Bank?
I don't know. They won't let us get through.
Huh?
Last night news said it did. Lakeview and Blue Bank.
Really? I heard it did too. I've also heard that there's 6 fatalities up here. Have y'all heard anything about that?
I hadn't heard it.
I've heard at least 3.
But there's a patrolman right up there you guys get.
All right, thank you. Said. All you can do whenever a natural catastrophe like this is hitting is pray to God that God shows mercy on you towards your property, your real estate, etc., especially your life. And all you can do is have some sort of a escape plan towards a safe house, getting the interior most part of the room, or get away from all the windows, etc., 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 towards making proper plans in case something like this was to ever occur. That's basically all you got. Here goes somebody right there with a load of water, all kinds of utility trucks. I just got through coming from a friend's house that lives probably less than 4 or 5 miles from here, and he didn't have no damage, fortunately, at his place. This is their city hall right here to the left. Hey, ma'am, have y'all heard that there was fatalities up here? This is their city hall. Right over there is their Reelfoot Lake Rescue. No, Reelfoot Lake Regional Utility Plant. Is that right there? Right here's their city hall. I didn't know their city hall was right here. And I was told that the new firehouse that they recently built, probably within the past 5 years, I've been told that it's completely, totally demolished, in which it probably is after looking at this. And of course, getting eyewitness views pertaining to all the lakefront houses that goes down beside Reelfoot Lake, to hear them talk that it's basically all gone. All gone. So you have to start asking yourself the $64,000 question, which is this. You know, whenever you start seeing all these natural catastrophes like the Bible talks about, towards great sorrows that will be falling upon humanity in the last days, regardless whether it comes in the form of floods, regardless whether it comes in the form of fires, regardless whether it comes in tornadoes, all the violence on our streets, all the drug abuse, all the homicides, all the mass shootings, you have to ask yourself the $64,000 question, which is this: why? Why are these occurrences continually happening again and again and again here in the great land of the free? I mean, this year, I think it was this year, no, last year, they had a major tornado that hit up towards Nashville, Tennessee, that I was fortunate enough to go up there and help to do some humanitarian work up into that area. But these tornadoes are more frequent, and they're more devastating. And to hear where a tornado has been on the ground for 200 miles and has hit community after community and done this type of devastation, we have to start figuring out what we're doing wrong, regardless whether it be to the atmosphere pertaining to global warming with all the carbon dioxide that's going up into the atmosphere, or the warming of the oceans pertaining to Emilios, or if it's just a sign from God by saying what he says in the Bible, that in the last days great sorrows will fall upon to the Homo sapiens upon to the planet. I had a good friend that lived up here at Reelfoot Lake on those lakefront properties. What that individual was talking about a while ago, that's all gone. he wound up getting stage 4 cancer, and he wound up selling that piece of property, give or take, about 2 years ago. And I just about guarantee you, from what that individual just got through telling me, odds are that piece of property that he sold is probably completely, totally destroyed. It's right on the water's edge of Reelfoot Lake. I was told that there's some sort of significant damage in the community of Cydonia, Tennessee. I was told that there's damage in Kenton, damage in Greenfield, damage in Martin, and basically Dresden is, the way that I understood the radio broadcast a while ago, that Dresden, Tennessee is basically like this. Over 100 facilities, at least 100 facilities have been damaged, and probably two-thirds of them is not, it can't be rebuilt. Can't be rebuilt. Man, oh man, this makes me sick at my stomach. I mean, literally makes me sick at my stomach to see this again and again and again. Just like all the fires up in Portland, Oregon, and it goes from one extreme to another. It went from fires to flooding to major mudslides. I mean, it's just one horror event after another that just makes you want to tear up and cry. Look past this area over here to the far left. All that over there's gone. I guarantee you this would be classified as a F4, if not a F5 tornado. Usually they claim an F5 tornado would take everything off its foundation. In other words, it just sweeps stuff clean. It don't look like they're going to let us through from the looks of it. I'm going to come over here, right over here real quick, and see if I can't get a better angle at everything on this side right here. I got a cousin that lives within 2 miles from here, just on the other side of that ridge right over there. See, all this sunk in 1811, whenever the earthquake hit, 1811, 1812 earthquake hit, all this sunk. But as this was sinking, all that rose. So everything beyond that area over there is ridges and hillsides. That's where I've got people back in there, some family, that I was concerned about towards whether or not he got any damage or not with it being this close. His name is Maxie Jackson. He lives over in the Philippines orchard area. And if you look at it the way the crow flies, it's not but maybe 3 or 4 miles on the other side of that ridge. Maybe the ridge protected him, because it looks to me like the tornado got down in this holler. I'm gonna call it a holler. That's how the Tennessee people explain things. Got down in this lower area, and it looks like it just kept going and going and going. And of course it went up towards Woodland Mills, and then it just eventually kept on. Unbelievable at the damage that's going on here. turning people away. And I'm pretty sure the reason why is because they want the firemen and everybody to, emergency personnel, to have full reign in what needs to be done out here towards cleaning up and getting things out of the way. Hey, sir, do you happen to know if the tornado went over the ridge? Sir, do you happen to know if the tornado went over the ridge?
I'm not sure which way it went back that way.
Do you care if I go over that way and look? Is the road closed? Well, they ain't gonna let me go. What they ain't gonna do to come out here and try to be of an assistance if they're not gonna let you come. But if you know the back roads, you can still get down in there if you know the back roads. I'm gonna let it go at that pertaining to all this horror that we're witnessing right now, and get over this way and see if maybe I can figure out if maybe my cousin did get hit or not. Anyways, we're here at Samberg, Tennessee, northwest Tennessee, the very right at the tip corner, pretty close to Reelfoot Lake, and we are witnessing the disaster of at least a F3, if not a F4 tornado. And the only thing that I know to do as of right now is just to pray, because they're not going to let the general public back there to assist towards doing humanitarian work.